Hello, good evening, everyone. We're back from our Tigrinya interview. This is Harfan Media from Seattle, Washington Live. Today, my guest today is Mr. Barakat Kiros from Seattle, and he is the chairman of the COVID-19 community response. Mr. Barakat, thank you for taking my call and being in the as my guest. Before we start, I would like you to introduce yourself first.
Thank you, Adisu, for having me in this very moment that every one of us yearning to do something about what's going on. And this is a great candid in terms of passing the information that we need altogether. And I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you, Mr. Barakat. I know you have been here in around Seattle area for so long, so I know people know you. Let everybody know you. Who are you?
That's always a difficult part to talk about yourself, but just for those people who don't know me, my name is Barakat Kiros. I have been here since the 90s in Seattle, and went to school here at UW for undergraduate, and got my master's in business administration from University of Phoenix about 15 years ago. In terms of what I do, I used to work for City of Seattle for about 11 years. And now I just found my organization called CERC, Coalition of Immigrant, Refugee, and Communities of Color, a founder and the chair. And also WAMA, Washington Africa Media Association, a founder and a chair. And also I work with many communities of color, in particular the COVID-19 Community Response Alliance. And I am a proud Tigray.
Thank you, Mr. Barakat. As I introduced you initially when we start, you are the chairman of the COVID-19 community, what do we say, community response?
Yes.
Tell me a bit about the organization, what you guys do.
Oh, thank you, Adisu. Just to take you back, the genesis of this organization, how we formed it since January 2020. I believe the King County region has been seeing escalating case of COVID-19 infection, and as the infection rate escalates, the same communities that experience chronic inequalities are at the front line communities of color, like our communities, the Tigray community, and other communities of color. So what we did was we get together, all of us, and we said we have to work together in order to combat this kind of disease in terms of also funding more, giving more funds to our respective community. But the challenge to our communities were amplified when we learned that the King County stated to stand a COVID quarantine facility in an unincorporated white center area. And those areas are mainly people who live, most of the people who live are communities of color. So that really irritates us because you don't find those quarantine areas in another place except where the community of color people live. And that means a lot. One, it reinforces the stereotype. Second, people who have houses, their property value is going to plunge. So that was the reason that we started together on the first initial CERC, Coalition of Immigrant, Refugee, and Communities of Color, with our committee and all in Washington. We decided to form an organization. And then this organization that started with 3-4 organizations started to grow to about 27 organizations. And within a month, we asked, within a month, we testified for as a King County Council for more funds. We got the first 100,000, and we divided for communities of color. And Tigray community was one of the beneficiaries as much as other communities of color. And also, subsequently, from Seattle Foundation, about 200,000. All in all, we we received about 450,000 and distribute to community who are in need of it, especially food assistance, rent assistance, and also masks and hand sanitizers as a primary cause. Because one of the problems that we see, big organization were defining the small organization, and the money was not going to the communities of color who need it. It was going to the big organization, and the big organization has to give a fraction of the money. And that's what it brought us. Eventually, we formed 5 committees, and those 5 committees were Advocacy Committee, Communication Committee, Anti-Biased and Hate Committee, and Immediate Need Committee. And also, we got a place as advisory on the pandemic response King County. We develop a weekly meeting and a briefing. Each of those community has to brief, and we just make the King County accountable, because one of the King County in terms of equity and social justice initiatives that they have proposed in 2016, I think 2020, states that strategies for advancing equity and social justice are invest in the following upstream and where needs are the greatest in communities of color. And they were not up to that standard. So this is one of the things that we remind them. You are not held accountable to your strategic plan in terms of addressing the issue of diversity in communities of color. So here we are after 5 months, getting stronger and advocating more fund for communities of color. Those 5 communities that I indicated, especially one, anti-hate and bias committee, especially, as you know, Adisu, once the coronavirus started, people being profiled like China virus, and also for communities of color. And we developed a website reporting tool, because the relationship communities of color they have with the police is totally different. And people always reluctant to report to the police because they don't trust them. So we have we develop our own site called United Anti-Hate and Bias.org. And this is written in 6-7 languages, and people can upload whatever problems they see. And I think, I am the one who accesses that website. It comes to my contact, and then we keep our data that we are not going to share with police or other agencies. So this is the tools that we develop through 4 or 5 months. And we have also a meeting with governor advisory group addressing some of the issue and concerns that our communities have. So I think I could say more, but those are the basic things that we did. In fact, if we have to talk more about, we developed a unified list of policy options that it's going to be a lot in terms of education, equity, and social justice. And we met legislators and so on.
Well, thanks, Mr. Barakat. I'm sure most Tigrayans around Sierra are proud of you that you're doing this interaction and you're supporting your community as usual. Now, let me come back to the topic that we have for today. Our topic is genocide against Tigrayans. We have to stop genocide against Tigrayans. Genocide, a big word. And I heard you last time in the interview describing what the government of Ethiopia, the illegitimate government of Ethiopia, waging a war against the Tigrayan people, where you come from. Tell me about this. What is genocide? How did you level this to the genocide level? What is genocide?
Thank you, Adisu. This is really something that goes to our heart. First of all, what is genocide? What it meant, how it evolves. So many scholars have written in terms of its definition, but let's see the genesis of it. The term genocide was first coined by Raphael, I think Lemkin. He's a Polish jurist, as a combination of a Greek word, Jonas means race, and the Latin word side means to kill. So genocide, it is a Greek word. When you combine, as I said earlier, Lemkin's definition, Jono, which means rest, in Latin word, and side, which means to kill. In 1994, books Axel rule in occupied Europe, one of the most first detailed document account of war crimes perpetrated by Nazi against the Jewish and other groups during World War II. So that's what it involves the war. And also, the primary difference between genocide and ethnic cleansing, sometimes, people exchange the term, but the primary difference in genocide and ethnic cleansing pretends to intent. Intent. So how do you prove intent? While in genocide, the intent of perpetrator is to extreme the targeted group. Listen, to extreme a targeted group. The intent of cleansers has frequently been removed and expropriated by the targeted people. So this is the premise. So in this context, what is happening, we can cite so many examples of Cambodia, examples of Burma, the Huna people. But the question is how it involves to what's going on in Ethiopia. Recently, what I heard, 37,000 Tigrayans are rounded up from different sectors of life in Addis Ababa. Merchants, people have never known Tigray because they have spoken Tigrinya. This is the profile. Eritreans as well, because they couldn't differentiate. So and this is in Addis Ababa, 37,000. And also in other parts of Benshangul, as you heard, Benshangul also, some of the Tigray merchants who has investment in those areas, they have been also profiled and detained. So those are, according to the definition of genocide, a certain group of people are being targeted because this psychopath junta leader try, God knows what he's going to try tomorrow. We should not wait until something unimaginable things could happen in this kind of chaotic environment.
Is the act of genocide now being executed? Like, is there a real genocide right now?
Adisu, it is an intent. You see, the intent, because he spoke directly in Tigrinya, as you are aware of, that he wants to bomb people, that he wants to bomb people, and they have to leave. I don't know where they're going to live. I mean, he's bombing on the skirts of Makala, Adigrat. Those are a heavily populated area. So his intent is to extreme. I mean, we are not talking about a war zone area. He is just deliberately targeting civilians. I can take you back. 20 years ago, what happened? The Ethiopia conflict, the Aider, that you are fully aware of. 2 times on the same place, school district, and it was way from the airport, way from the military installation. So things are happening after 20 years, the same thing, the same motive. So that's what we have to stop, that kind of madness before.
Mr. Barakat, you are an educated person, a Tigrayan educated man. Tigrayan intellectuals, where were you when Aider was bombed? And it's not a genocide. Mr. Isaias Afwerki is still alive and still bombing. What's going on?
Well, I mean, I can tell you this. The guy is from New York University. His name was Professor Erickson. He filed on behalf of the Tigray people, especially well-documented studies that he has done. in some way, our government back then, they don't want to push to that level. That I know for sure. And so many people knows here, Professor Erickson. I don't know, but was on file, and still it is on file. I might have somewhere the findings that he wrote in my all the computers. So this is a concern that we have. Because what happened is what happened. We didn't follow through, and we don't want to see that kind of nightmare again. Adisu, that's what the intellectuals here, Tigrayan origin, they are working to establish a group of lawyers that can study the intent and some of the signs of a genocide act. They are working on it. They are documenting. The whole idea is Adisu documentation. We have to have a documentation to prove this is happening in intent, and we are seeing it in Addis Ababa and elsewhere. Ethiopian Tigrayan origin being hunted because they are Tigrayans. Some of them, they don't have even an affiliation to any political level that you can suspect them. So, and it is a tragedy. God forbid what's going to happen next day. I mean, look at it. The whole world is condemning him, but he just keep going with a vengeance against the Tigrayan people who have helped him to be what he is now. And he's accusing that the state of Tigray authorities are feeding the hands of, they are biting the hands they feed. I mean, he's the one who is biting the hands they fed him, and he calls them junta. He's a military, he's a junta. I mean, it's just, I don't understand even what to make up about this psychopath leader, to be honest with you.
Now, on my last minute, let me ask you one question. Very controversial question. This man, he called dictator, has been nominated and prized with the Nobel Peace Prize. And the world gave him that prize. How does he see now you're calling him a dictator?
Well, he is one of the darling of the West, and he was prized for making a deal with Eritrea. As you are aware of, those deal has been for years, but in order to make a peace, the other side has to extend the olive branch. But what he did was, actually, Prime Minister Haile Mariam, he in a televised, he said he wants to have a peace with the Eritrean leader, but was refused somehow. Abiy, he took that opportunity with the help of West. You see, the Western world, when they see something, they try to use them effectively for their own means. He was an ex-spy by his admission, and I don't know. I mean, when I see what's going on in Ethiopia, think about it. 20 years, what we have built is destroying it one by one. Think about that. So, does he really have any concern for Ethiopia and the lives of Ethiopians? No, he wants to stay for power. I mean, COVID-19 is not an excuse not to do election. The Tigrayan people done it with care and passion. And here is the United States. It has been done. But the whole issue is he was buying time to destroy the fabric of our society and Ethiopia. I can trace many examples. Look at it. Since he became in power, how many people has been assassinated? Look at the economy. From digital growth to 1.5, even probably was negative now because of the war. A country, the fastest economy registering for the last 10 years. Now it is in shambles. The dam was registering 9% every year. Look at it now. It is registering around 5%. And one time he said, this dam is not going to see the sunlight. He makes a lot of decisions on behalf of his without help of his expertise. So what really makes me sick is that all Ethiopians are in silence. What is happening in Tigray is going to happen to them tomorrow. And it is happening around Ethiopia. And I want to mention here, Adisu, whatever happened in southern part of Wallaga, the 400 Amharas been massacred, it is a tragedy that should have been averted. Look at it. What happened after they left the army base? They came and they slaughtered them, and then the next day he blames for the state of Tigray. This administration never accepts any fault of his own doing. So the Nobel Prize is a joke, to say the least, as much as his degree worthless, if I have to say it clearly. I mean, this is not something, a model for a Nobel peace man as a peace maker. He is destroying the fabric of our society. So, yeah, it is a man with a contradiction himself, as much as his personality is. So my message is, what I care is about the Ethiopian people, in particular, my own Tigrayan people around the world. This is a very challenging time for us, a very challenging time with us. Whatever differences we have to work together, because our survival depends on supporting our state of Tigray authorities and work hand in hand and glove with them. If there is no excuses, whatever. This is a very important time to rally on behalf of Tigrayans, support them financially, work together with them to avert any disaster that none of us wants to see. Otherwise, the regret for not participating, for not contributing, it will be much greater a risk for our survival. So I am asking my fellow Tigrayans, let's work together. Let's help our people. Let's feed them. Most of the people who are fighting could be my grandkids. Quite honestly, not only my kids, my grandkids. So it is important to work together. Whoever is watching Hakfan right now, we ask you to support your own people. They are in the trenches for our survival, for your survival, for the nation's survival. And I ask you, your generosity in supporting the war that has fallen upon us. We don't want it, but it came upon us, and we have every right to defend. And we will continue. The international community, if it hears our voice, to stop this madman from further crisis and disintegrating our country.
Mr. Barakat, our poor people, Tigrayans, the whole Ethiopia, are not educated like you and others. They will be expecting you to be the voice of this voiceless. The educated Tigrayans, the intellectuals, what advice do you have?
Alisu, this is really, my heart bleeds. And I have never been emotional in my life. Our people, they helped us to be where we are. They paid their taxes. You know, when we went back in high school, we finished most of us high school. It is the taxpayers who paid for us. What do we give for them when they need, in the time of their need? I think if they have to give their lives, it's not that much to give, whatever money we earn. And I think we should be an example Some of them, they are giving their houses. Some of them are giving their, whatever belongings they have. Some of them, they are giving lives. So I urge Tigrayans around the world, especially in the diaspora, to be generous for this just cause. Just cause. This is a just cause. One time, sure. If we can overcome, the future ahead of us will be a very joyful and a very proud nation. But to do that, we should work hard right now. Right now, our unity, our strength, our determination can help them to go forward. We are the backbone. We are the backbone for their actions in defending the country that they are putting risk their lives. So I will ask fellow Tigrayans around the world, please help, be generous, work together, and contact your senators, contact your representatives to avoid. Every one of us has potential to do something. And this country is full of opportunity to do something. Our voice matters. Our help matters. So I will ask you to support any media like Hakfen, any Tigrayan social media to participate, especially Twitter. Please tweet. There are only few words, less than 120 characters. It has a lot of followers. And we have to learn fast the art of social media, just like we did 20 years ago when we have the Eritrean conflict. Time is running. Time is every essence of, because right now, as we talk together with Adisu, they are in trenches fighting. That's what we have to think about it. They are kids. They need to be fed. Their family, their kids, even themselves. So let's work together, all of us support. Let's bring the spirit of Tigrayans as always. And I know my fellow Tigrayans, in time of need, you are always there. Your generosity is always there. And I couldn't be proud of what I have seen in a short period of time. All Tigrayans rallying around the world. Well, this psychopath leader in trying to tweet and trying to counter and trying to mislead. But the fact remains fact, and we should prevail at the last. And glory to our martyrs, and glory to our people. And thank you, Adisu.
Thank you, Mr. Barakat. There are a lot of followers, Americans, other citizens to Hakfen. They subscribe. They're listening to you. What's your message to them?
Yeah, without their support, we need every support, not only Tigrayans, friends of Tigrayans, Eritreans, or Americans, or Germans, any nation who is seeing the unjust war that is fallen upon us. Please help the Tigrayan people. When you help the Tigrayan people, you are helping to stop a genocide, because we are fighting to save our life, our nation, our history as a people. So please, help spread the news, not only in terms of money, financial, but spreading what's going on in Tigray. You are the voice. We are the voice. And help us to spread what's happening inside Tigray. Because for the last 2.5 years, the economy blockade has been hitting so hard. Now we are at war. The war just started a week ago, but it has been going on psychologically, economically, to ruin the spirit of our people. So this is a reality, a brink reality that our people are subjected for no reason except they exercise their constitutional right to elect their leaders. That is the crime. And this is a freedom that they earned because 50,000 sons and daughters for such movement to have and vote and exercise their own freedom. And that has to be underlined. That is the main subject that is going to take us to war because we exercise our constitutional right. His constitutional mandate expired on September 25th. He is a de facto dictator. And I don't know what, other fellow Ethiopians could not see this. He's just a junta. He's trying to destroy the country and he wants to crown as a king by destroying all institutions that the Ethiopian people, nationalities has built for the last 25, 27 years. And that is the crux of the matter. So we ask friends, Tagarus, to help us to propel this unjust war. And thank you, Adisu. Keep the spirit. We'll overcome. We'll overcome.
Thank you, Mr. Barakat. We, as Hakfan Media too, the people that have been bombed right now are farmers who know nothing, who have no interest in politics. They just want to live. This dictator is bombing them. Openly in his television, he televised, he declared a war on the farmers. The international community does not deserve to see another Rwanda again. We should stop. We should stop the genocide against Tigrans now, before it's too late. Mr. Barakat, I really appreciate you coming to our show. You'll be our guest for next time again. Your dedication is very appreciated. Thank you.
And also, I just like to mention that we are, I hope we are having a demonstration on Wednesday at Seattle, starting from our community center to the federal building. And that's the intent. And I hope a lot of our friends and Tagaru will join us one more time to hear our voice and Americans to understand what's going on in Tigray, in northern part of Tigray, for that matter, all over Ethiopia. This is not only a problem for Tigray, it is a problem for Ethiopia for some time. So I hope some of the people who live in King County and in every areas will join in this peaceful demonstration to highlight the predicament of Tagaru across Ethiopia, in particular in Addis Ababa. And also, as you know, I've been writing for so long, and still on EthioObserver.net, we are trying to put so much new articles and new ideas and rally Tagaru to highlight what's going on in Ethiopia with this psychopath leader.
Thank you, Mr. Barakat. One more time, what's the address that we are going to have the demonstration? Just for the people. Again, another address again.
Yeah, the demonstration is all about a peaceful demonstration, to, as I said, to highlight what's going on in Tigray, because there is a lot of misinformation floating around by his staunch supporters of this psychopath leader. I mean, it just there are a lot of sick people. I mean, go to social media. They're just 180 trajectory. Actually, some of them are cheering what's happening in Tigray. And we just could not be silent on such madness. And we got to tell the American people, our Congress, and our representative we're going to pursue what's going on, the real picture in our Tigray, in particular in our northern part of Tigray. And we need a lot of humanitarian assistance. We need a lot of financial support. And we're going to highlight what's going on. American people are very generous when they see what's going on. So you and me and others, we have a lot of work in terms of getting the facts straight. So the demonstration is all about the facts, what's going on the ground in one northern part of Ethiopia. He cut all the telephone, all the satellite, so that he can do his dirty things that there will not be any evidence in terms of video and other social media leaks from northern part of Ethiopia. But we'll do. This will not be the first one, and we're gonna continue to highlight and work and conduct Zoom meeting with our representatives in the future, and put so much pressure to our elected representative to highlight what's going on in northern part of the Tigray. So it is only one. Wednesday is only one event, but there will be more to come. We'll be aggressively going to work hand in glove with the diaspora community and with other communities and friends of Ethiopia. So there is a lot of work to be done. You and me and others. There is no sleeping. There is no compulsion for such a urgent issue that people are being bombarded for no reason, as you have said earlier. I mean, look at the timing of the invasion. This is, first of all, locusts came. And then, whatever they left from locusts they want to harvest, he declared war. Think about that. This is a systematic approach so that he wants to starve the people of Tigray. Look at it, the genesis of the war. Why this time? This is a time where they have to harvest whatever remains from the locust. And they were fighting from the locust because he refused even to fly some of the locust area, only the Amhara region, but not the Tigray territory. And we could go on, so on and so on. So this is a sign of a genocide. The intent, as I said, you have to see the signs that lead. First, starve the people. Second, arrest them. Third, God knows what's going to happen. So we're not going to wait until he takes further action. We just have to stop his madness right now. So this is what it looks like in our future engagement in terms of advocacy on behalf of our people.
Thank you, and you're doing a good job, Mr. Barakat. Next time we'll see you. Thank you. I appreciate that you're joining us today.
I'll be looking forward to do more engagement in the future. As I said, it's only the beginning. We have a lot of responsibility to discharge our responsibility. Otherwise,
yes, we do. And the Tigrayan people will prevail. Thanks for watching, our listeners. Next time with other guests until we meet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adisu. Appreciate it for having me.
I appreciate you, sir.